Yo, what's poppin'? Brand new whip just hopped in. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how you do that song. Um, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is Drew Muzan. Um, coming to you from a different angle. Trying this little tripod I got out. As you can see, it's been a minute since I've done a personal video or video by myself. I've been thinking about this video for a long time, but I just hadn't had a chance to do it, or had a chance to do it, but just like, I don't know, been caught up with other projects and things of that nature. Very excited for what you guys are gonna see. But yeah, this is another episode of Walk with Drew. I've dyed my hair. I've gotten a nose ring, like I said I was. Dyed my hair. It's not necessarily, I wouldn't necessarily say this is a new Drew. This is Drew. I'm not gonna say it's a new Drew. This is Drew. But I wanted to come on here, as you can see by the title, talking about being fully black and being fully a Christian. Something that I've wrestled with for a long time. I want to start by saying that, this video, there's no shots to anybody or any organization, or to anybody or any organization. This is just me simply telling my truth and my side of the story, and hoping that it reaches who it's supposed to reach. So want to start by saying I believe that I can be fully black, I can be pro-black, and I can be a Christian. I believe that my pro-blackness or my blackness does not step on the toes of my Christianity. How I grew up in a church context where I was taught that I was a Christian first and that I was a black person second. And at the time, growing up and as a young adult, I'm only 26, but at the time, growing up and as a young adult, I didn't really have any objections with that. It's just like, okay, it is what it is. But, growing up in this church context my whole life, growing up in this Christian school context my entire life, I developed this sense of tone deafness to black issues. I developed this sense of tone deafness to the black man's plight. I developed this sense of tone deafness to issues that plague black people in America, and being a Christian, I guess that my faith kind of, just covered all of that. Like, I just wasn't paying attention to that because, I'm a Christian first, I'm a black man second, and things of that nature. And it even hurts me even saying that phrase and actually thinking I actually believe that phrase at one point in time. And no knock to nobody who believes you're a Christian first and a black person second. But I grew up in that context, very tone deaf to those issues, and it really started to show when I got to college. I went to a PWI, I went to Wingate University, went to a PWI, and it was majority white people, not that many black people, and I hung around friends who were more in tune with their black skin, in tune with their blackness. I'm not saying that I didn't dress a certain type of way. I'm not talking about that in terms of blackness. I'm talking about understanding that you're a black man in America. And I had friends in college who knew that and understood them being a black man and things of that nature, and how people look at you, and how you may have to walk a few paces behind certain people. I wasn't knowledgeable of just, I'm a black man. Like, I felt I wasn't knowledgeable of that. Like, I knew I was black, but I wasn't that, to an extent that my fellow college friends were. And I remember vividly this one instance when I was in college and I put this out on Facebook, but I remember this one instance when I was in college that I never was a part of like the Black Student Union, and I didn't understand the point of it. I remember my college roommate can attest to this. and several others that went there, white friends that I knew that went there, because I had a conversation with them about this. But I never attended Black Student Union meetings because I never wanted to be a part of the Black Student Union because I didn't understand the point of it. I thought to myself, and I said these things out of my own mouth, I said, well, if there was a white student union, we'd be all mad and upset because there was a white student union. And I didn't agree with the thought of segregating myself, because that's what I thought that, having a Black student union was. Because I'm like, okay, we're free now. We're not segregated. Why are we trying to segregate ourselves? We should be anti-segregation and things of that nature. But that wasn't the reason for a Black student union. The reason for a Black student union is because Black students have been in small numbers on PWI campuses, private white universities or public white universities, for as long as public white universities have allowed Black people in, or people of color in. Black people have been minorities at these universities for as long as we can think of. And we need to, one, stick together and group up, and we also need a voice. We need a voice on these majority white campuses that can speak for us, that can fight for us, that can lobby for funding, that can lobby to fix issues with the campus and help get the Black people that get accepted to these universities on this campus more comfortable, and that's the purpose of what a Black student union is for. And I didn't see the purpose of that. I never went to any Black student union meetings. I went to one or two of them. I was not engaged in them. And the times I did go, I wasn't engaged with them, but I was always at the parties. I was always at the functions, or participating, spending my money within any of the functions that I, that related to my interests, but I was never part of the union. And I believe that I wasn't a part of the union because of that growing up and that teaching and that schooling, that I was a Christian first. So I objected to any type of segregation, anything that looked like it was segregation, because I'm a Christian first and things of that nature. And as of the last 2 or 3 years, I've been steadily unlearning these religious ways that I had. And I believe that a lot of these religious ways that I had, a lot of these beliefs that I had about being a Black man, and being Christian first and things like that were religious based. I believed that I earned merit in who I voted for. I believed I earned merit in, standing on the right side of Israel. I believed I earned merit for all these different things, all these religious things, instead of, Christ's merit, instead of Jesus's merit. And I believed I earned merit for who I voted for, or God was pleased with me because I voted for this person, or, God was pleased with me because I donated to QFI and all these things of that nature. I believed I earned merit for those things without, and I believed I earned merit for those things. And in the church that I grew up in, abortion, politics, and homosexuality were, to me, had bigger voices than social injustices and racial inequalities in the country. And some people may feel different who went there, but to me personally, I believe that those voices were overwhelmingly loud. The voice of abortion, the voice of politics, the voice of voting for the right person, the voice of homosexuality, abortion, all those things. I believe those were overwhelmingly loud voices, rather than you're a Black man. Be proud in being a Black man. Black people have gone through hell in this country. Black people need people to speak up. We need voices. We need to go into, every man's world, and in whatever profession that we're in, and not only preach the gospel, but we need to, amplify these Black voices, amplify Black voices in these specific cultural contexts, because you're a Black man and God made you Black. I don't remember hearing that growing up. And as I left my old church a couple years ago, like I said, I've been constantly doing unlearning, and I stepped into a new church, And this church, not only this church, but what I believe, being under the new covenant, has caused me to open my eyes to a lot of the issues, and that God is not mad whether or not you vote for Trump or not, or happy whether or not you vote for Trump or not. God is not, it's not a sin to be pro-black. It's not a sin to care about black issues or care that Black Lives Matter. It's not a sin for these things. It's a sin when your black skin becomes an idol, when you think your black skin is God. I remember Eshawn Burgundy said a line like that. He said something along the lines of that goes for any person who turned their skin color into God. So I believe people have turned them being black into being gods themselves. And, you can idolize your black skin, but I don't believe there's a problem in being there. And I don't believe there's a problem in being black or recognizing, being proud of that you're black, because it's just like we're, as Christians who are watching this, I bet you're proud that you're black when it comes to your sense of style, when it comes to your sense of fashion, when it comes to your taste in movies, your taste in music, your overall swag. I bet you're proud of being black. But when it comes to, the issues going on in the country, and you having the message, the answer, you having the grace of God, when it comes to you being black in a spiritual context or a political context, or when that starts to when your Christianity starts to rub up against your blackness, you have a problem then. But you didn't have a problem being black when it came to when it came to the movies and the clothes and the culture. But when that culture starts to rub up against your Christianity, you're like, oh, I'm a Christian first. But it's just like, no, I believe that we can be Christians. I can be a black man, and then I can be a man. I can be black, I can be a male, and I can be a Christian. And that all three of these things, me being a man, me being black, and me being a Christian, were all by God's design, and that one does not step on the toes of another. I believe that, we're doing ourselves a disservice if we denounce the skin color that God gave us, or if we participate and we're proud about it when it's, when it deals with like black culture and knowing how to cook and whatever. I'm not saying other people don't know how to cook, but when it comes to these certain things, we're proud about it then. But when it comes to the issues and facing racism in the church and facing racism in the world, the church, who has the answer for everything in Jesus Christ, doesn't want to speak up. And with everything going on in the last 2 or 3 months, it's been incredibly saddening that black people, some that I know, some that I used to know, and just people that I know in general, are not speaking up and using their voices and are standing against being black, or standing against being a black man, being fully black and being fully Christian. It saddens me that we have to that it's a shame that we can't be Christians and support the Black Lives Matter movement. We should be able to be Christians and support the Black Lives Matter movement, but just because we support the movement does not mean that we're giving our 100% support to the organization. And that's kind of been a rift in the body of Christ. Like the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and countless others have caused somewhat of a rift within Christianity. You've seen it from the white church, people speaking out and saying white blessing, and that white privilege should be called white blessing, and these white pastors trying to speak up and use their huge platforms, to speak up about these issues, but do it in a tone deaf or a senseless way, because they don't have any black counterparts within their church to help them, culturally, not appeal culturally, but to help them say the right things. And countless other pastors white pastors have been caught up in this onslaught of just, this onslaught, because they're saying, we should be against the Black Lives Matter movement, because it's funded by such and such, or it's a part of such and such, but instead of just standing with black people, period. And it's even caused a rift in some of the black churches with black people in discussions. Some people are some people are staying silent. Some people are speaking up. Some people, are unfriending people on Facebook and blocking people on Facebook because who they thought was a Christian and supported black people didn't really support black people when it really matters in this context. And it's just all causing a lot. But I just really wanted to just come on and just state from my heart, bottom of my heart, I believe that I can be black, I can be a male, and I can be a Christian, and that God does not have a problem with me being pro-black, and that my Christianity does not step on the toes of my blackness, because God created me as black. He created me as a black man. If culture was not important, then why did God say that the Canaanites did this, or the Amorites did this, or the Levites did this, or the Nazarites did this, or the Jews did this? Why did God purposely place culture in the Bible if culture was insignificant? I believe culture is significant, and culture has a purpose in displaying how we get the gospel out. But culture does not necessarily have to be an idol. We don't have to idolize our black skin or idolize our culture, but we can stand and say that, our culture is significant. And my charge to any Christian out there who may have a similar story like I have, you may grew up in a context where you did not understand your black plight. You did not understand being a black man. You did not understand. That doesn't necessarily mean you have to go outside your house and be afraid every single day because you're a black man. No, you have the Spirit of God on your side. But you can understand and empathize when you see racial injustices going on in the country, when you see racial inequality, you see all these things that are, and understanding the fact that black people have had, that white people have had a 400-year head start over black people, that we don't have the same privileges that white people do in this country, and that we're still fighting, that the war on racism, the war on social inequality, the war on racial inequality the war on social injustice is not over yet, and that the war is still ongoing, and that it's every single day, and that you in your sphere of influence, whether you're in IT, whether you're in media like me, whether you're a preacher, whether you're a hairstylist, whether you're a weatherman, whether you mow lawns, you're in agriculture, architecture, whatever. You and your sphere of influence as a black person and as a Christian who I assume is watching this, you have the responsibility to use your black skin, to use your Christianity, to use whether you're a man or a woman to be able to help get the gospel out in your sphere of influence. Whether you're doing hair, whether you're doing media, whether you're doing whatever it is, you have a responsibility to use everything that God has given you to be able to get the gospel out. And because I may not be able to go where you may be able to go, and you may not be able to go where I may be able to go, but we all have a responsibility to be able to get that out. So I just wanted to come on there and just say my piece, that it's not wrong to consider yourself as black and as a Christian, and that those things don't step on the toes of each other. So this was another episode of Walk with Drew, another impromptu episode, different angle. We switching it up, you know what I'm saying? But this was another episode of Walk with Drew. My name is Drew Muzan. Until next time, peace out, you guys. Stay black.